Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Johnson. I'm the owner and operator of Firearms Training Facility in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida. And you are on our live from the range on Tuesday nights. If you don't know who I am a firearms instructor that specializes in first time shooters, and we teach people how to become more proficient with a pistol and all the fun stuff like that. And this live is brought to you every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. So you save that date, save that time, and be here with us every week. We would appreciate it very much. We do a lot of different topics. We do a lot of different stuff. Some is firearms training, some is gun choices, some is teaching you some tricks and tips to become more proficient with a pistol. I'm glad you're here this evening. If you know the drill, if you're here for the very first time, please comment below. Let us know that you are a newbie. We want to give you a give you applause for being here. If you are one of our regular uh, watchers, go ahead and comment. Let us know you're here as well. We would appreciate it very much. I'll pull the comments up as we're going and respond to you guys as we are watching everything happen here. Hi, Michael. How you doing, buddy? Oh, I can feel the going. Okay. I'm glad you're here this evening, Mike. Thank you very much. All right, so we have a great topic this evening. We went last week with the newbies, and we've been kind of last couple weeks been doing some little tricks and tips for new people. And this week we're talking about something to think about before you purchase your first pistol. And this is kind of important because a lot of people come to the range on a regular basis and are being told what to get from a friend or a family member, not thinking about maybe their hand size, maybe their strength or their power. Again, a lot of times women are keyholed or pigeonholed into the revolvers only, which is, I think, it's a silly thing. A revolver has its place. There's nothing wrong with a revolver, but some of the senior women don't have the strength in their trigger finger to pull a revolver. And some of those triggers can be 10 pounds or better. Hey, Andrew, how you doing? We'd love to have her. Yeah, just make sure you sign up for it, buddy. It's selling out pretty quick, Andrew. Andrew asked about our kids' Halloween shootout on the 28th, and we'd love to have Samantha have her bring her own pistol if she wants, or she can use one of our rifles, Andrew. The link's on our website. Get signed up for it, or call me tomorrow. I'll get you signed up for it. Appreciate it very much. So, yeah, this evening we're going to be discussing some tips that I would recommend if you're thinking about purchasing a new pistol. We are getting bombarded a lot now with people who are coming to the range for the very first time and thinking about getting a pistol. I can't imagine why everyone's thinking about getting a pistol now or a weapon now compared to, I don't know, a couple months ago when Sleepy Joe was in the house. And now we got Kamala, and even though she says that you come in her house, she gonna shoot you. I don't believe that she is the most gun friendly person in the world. Remember, she's the one, the mandatory buyback program that she tried to introduce. By the way, that happened in California. Not one gun was turned in. So there we go. That's it. Yep. We got to be careful. Remember, these politicians don't want you to have a firearm, but they're surely protected by firearms, and that's kind of one of those things. It's a you know all politicians. If you're a D and R or an R, if they can inside trade, they're a criminal, and that's just my opinion. And they set these plans in motion and build all these stuff, and then all of a sudden can make millions of dollars. I don't know how you can have a job 5 years and be set for life. Um, it's kind of one of those deals. So we got a good group here this evening. If go ahead and comment below if anything I give you this evening you have a question on or anything else like that. Would appreciate it very much. Obviously, you guys are important to me, and I appreciate you being here every evening. So, purchasing a pistol is an exciting yet significant decision. Whether you're buying a personal for, for, for personal protection, sport shooting, or concealed carry, the process can be somewhat overwhelming due to the varied options, calibers, and models available. As a first-time buyer, Joe, how you doing, buddy? I'm glad you're here, pal. Welcome from Puerto Rico. As a first time buyer, it's crucial to take time to make an informed choice that suits your needs. And here's what I'll give you a lot of times. We're dealing with a lot of couples nowadays, and when a husband and wife come in, we make sure that the wife can run the pistol. The husbands can most men can shittily hold shoot a pistol and shoot okay. We got to make sure the weapon fits her hands. And that's the key thing. So, uh, informed decisions suit your needs, lifestyle, and comfort level. This guide will provide you 10 essential tips to consider before making your first purchase, helping you navigate the process with confidence and ensuring you're choosing the right firearm for your goals. Safety, research, hands on experience is key to making a wise investment in your first pistol. Now, let me start by saying to you, majority of your, because obviously, if you're in this area, we would love to have you come talk to us and we will walk you through. Matter of fact, because we're a training facility, majority of our pistols are shootable right out of the store here. So we can take you in the back and kind of give you a concept of what we think. I could look at a student's hands, I could look at the woman or the man's strength, their power, and recommend a pistol for them. You going on the internet and buying a gun for price point or somebody told you something another, you're not even sure if you can actually physically run that pistol. And as we get further in age, our dexterity doesn't become as much as we had when we were older or younger. So, racking a slide for some people is very challenging. Engaging a trigger on a revolver that's 10 pounds can be somewhat challenging for women and men when they have arthritis or something like that. So, one of the things we got to make sure of is that you go to a qualified somewhere you're comfortable and they'll walk you through the best pistol for you. Now, obviously, we do that here, and I'm sure a lot of the stores in the United States will do the same because they want you as a lifetime customer. We treat everyone like family, so you are part of our family when you come here. So we want to make sure our family members are protected and loved and secure with the proper pistol that fits their hands. So that's what I'd recommend first. Obviously, you can get recommendations from a lot of different people. So here are the tips for someone thinking about purchasing a pistol for the very first time. Now, we have a lot of people moving from a lot of different states that weren't very gun friendly. And when they get to Florida, besides getting that Florida driver's license, the next thing they want to do is get that pistol or weapon because they've been stopped from getting there or stopped from protecting themselves here. And Florida is the gunshine state. So people want to get that as soon as possible. That's the greatest thing ever when you're able to protect yourself and your freedom. Your home here in Florida is your castle. When someone comes in your home and they're uninvited, I don't mean mother-in-law invited. I mean someone who's there to harm, maim, or kill you. In Florida, you're allowed to defend yourself. Some states, in the United States, if someone comes in your front door, you got to go out your back door. You can't defend yourself, you can't protect yourself, and if you do, most likely you're going to go to jail for that and have a real problem on your hands. So that's the good thing about Florida. All right, so number 1, determine the purpose. This is kind of important for us because a lot of people come to the store with a concept of one pistol for everything. And that sometimes will work, but most of the time we're going to have to find some kind of happy medium. You know, right now, majority people who are buying a weapon are buying a 3.1 or 4-inch barrel and being able to use that weapon because it's not so big that you couldn't carry it, but it's not too small that it's not going to have a lot of heavy recoil or anything else like that. So, identifying why you want the pistol. Is it going to be for self defense? Is it going to be for home protection? Is it going to be recreational shooting? Conceal carry. The intent will give you a guide of choice of pistol type, size, and feature. So let's look at these and say, why would a pistol be different for self defense and home protection and recreational shooting? What's the difference? Well, normally self defense, you're looking at something with a 3-inch barrel. Home protection, probably same thing, 4-inch barrel. What we're looking for mostly is high capacity. Now, in some states, high capacity is 10 rounds. Well, in Florida, we have high capacity. We don't have high capacity laws here. So we can put 15 rounds. We can put a 33 round stick in this gun if we wanted to. But you want to have more rounds than you need. Obviously, we always joke and kid about if I need more than the 2 shots, I'm probably going to be in trouble anyways. And you're probably right. But technically, more rounds in the gun gives you more protection due to the fact that most bad guys, even the worst bad guy in the world, has a buddy or has a pal, has a friend. And they normally don't rob you singularly. They rob you with multiple people, and having a 5-shot revolver makes all the sense in the world if there's only one guy. But what happens if there are 5 of them? That means you got to be 100% accurate or you're going to miss somebody. Now, the bold joke about once I shoot the gun off in the home, most likely bad guys are going to run away. They're not wanting to be shot anyways. But technically, if we had 5 bullets and 5 bad guys, chances are in a high stress situation, you're going to miss. And if you're going to miss, then you've got one less round for one less bad guy. Recreational shooting is more about accuracy, the pinpoint accuracy. These are 22s, these are longer barrel pistols. Could a longer barrel pistol defend your home? Yeah, obviously, yeah, 100%. Is a longer barrel pistol going to be easy to carry? Absolutely not. It's just too big. It's not going to be what you want. So, identifying the purpose for the pistol and the intent of the use is probably one of the best things you could start with. That kind of gives you an idea. And then start your research. Start looking around. Man, you're watching YouTube tonight. There's tons and tons and tons of videos of every manufacturer. We want to be very careful. There are a lot of great influencers on these YouTube channels that are recommending products that they get a sample of and run it through its courses, and they're not getting compensated for selling a pistol, which we're not allowed to do anyways, right? They don't want us selling anything like that. But you can get where somebody receives a gift to review, and then at the end they're expecting a better than normal outcome of that review, and just be careful of that. Learning the different types of pistols, being semi-automatic or revolver, the calibers and the brands, read the reviews, watch reliable gun reviews to get a sense of what's available and what other recommend for the first time buyer. You know what ends up happening a lot of times with first time buyers? They're just a little out there on trying to figure out what can I get that's not going to break the bank, that's going to be shootable, but it's going to be easy for me to manipulate and run and everything else like that. Because, like anything else, man, I mean, do we need a $5,000 pair of golf clubs if we don't know how to hit a golf club? Is the $5,000 golf clubs going to make us a better golfer? Is the golf shirt gonna make us a better golfer? You'll look good, you'll look out, you'll have the clubs, but if you can't know what you're doing with them, it becomes useless anyway. So, you know, budget wise, I would tell you if you were first time going out looking at weapons, I would say I would budget myself into the 550 and down. Can you get a $300 gun? Yeah, sure. Taurus makes a lot of great products. Ruger has their EC9S. Um, once you get up a little higher than that, you're looking at the Smith and Wesson line, which I'm a Smith man. Not that I don't like Glocks. Not that I'm not a Glock lover, but Glocks are great. I'm uh, Sig, Hellcats, I mean the Springfield. Those 2 to me are overpriced for what they are. I'm not saying they're a bad pistol. I just don't like I think the Smith when I put a equalizer or a shield 2.0 or an easy in someone's hand and watch them run the pistol and watch them um, stack bullets. I mean, the Smith has put a product out that's very user friendly. Whether you're a woman or a man, it's going to be easy to operate. And when we're buying pistols, we're buying weapons. We're buying them for 20 years, guys. So if you're 65 now, that puts you at 75. Are you going to be able, or 85, are you going to be able to manipulate it? If you're having problems racking a slide or loading a magazine at 65, what's going to happen when you get up there in age? You're not going to be able to do it as well. So there are a lot of user friendly products now from these manufacturers, easier loading magazines, easier racking slides. They've changed an awful lot. Many years ago, it was tough to even rack a slide of any kind, let alone put someone that has very little dexterity trying to rack a slide. There are tips and tricks you can learn to do that by using your arm instead of using your hand to rack the slide. So your research starts with you looking at stuff, maybe asking a friend, maybe asking your neighbors, maybe going to the range and maybe renting a couple pieces. I mean, that's doable. I mean, but obviously let the gun stores kind of tell you what's there. I would be very leery on being sold something. Make sure you go in and ask for something. Don't ask for what's the best pistol for me because not every gun store is like this, but there are some spiff sales that happen, which spiff sale is that the store itself, big box store, may have a multiple use of these products and they need to lower their inventory. So they lay out this nice sale. Oh, by the way, the salesman's going to get a little bit of a kick for everyone he sells. So, and then all of a sudden you're not buying the gun that he thinks you could use. He's buying the gun because he's getting a little bit more kick. I'm not saying everyone does that. I know that as a salesman, um, they're not always thinking about the customer as well as they should be. You know, I've had plenty of ladies go out to Bass Pro, go on a Sunday, go through the whole process, buy a revolver because their son up in Colorado said, "Mom, get a revolver because it's the easiest thing for you." But the son didn't think about, can mom pull the trigger on a revolver? And now she's bought an $800 Smith and Wesson that she can't even engage the trigger. And all of a sudden now she can't return it to Bass Pro because firearms, like anything else, are all sales are final. So now she's trying to figure out how to pull that trigger. And most gun smiths are not going to lower the poundage on a trigger on a revolver, which is dangerous to begin with, and it ruins the warranty on the weapon. So if she'd have just been able to come to a place like us or any of the other places and try to pull the trigger, because out of Bass Pro Shop, they don't let you pull the trigger. They don't let you engage the trigger to make sure you can, and you don't want to be cocking that revolver to shoot it because then you're walking around with a very light trigger in a high stress situation. All right, number 3 would be consider your budget. Consider what kind of money you're wanting to put into this weapon. Now, I will tell you, and I've kind of this is sort of my little deal here that we try to tell everybody. You can buy an inexpensive pistol to start with. Pistols come in a variety of ranges. Set a budget that includes the cost of the pistol, ammo, holster, cleaning supplies, and necessary training. And keep in mind, a reliable pistol doesn't have to break the bank. It doesn't have to break the bank. So here's where I run into a little problem with this, and obviously, I I own a gun store. I can bring anything I want to bring in here. I do not bring in $1,000 guns. My budget here, I'm a budget friendly store. I'm $600 or less on firearms, handguns, that is. Now, some revolvers get up there when people want revolvers, and some 1911s get up there. But the majority people starting out their career are not buying a stainless 1911 Colt, for instance, or anything else like that. They're buying something that's going to be universal. Here's where I run into a problem. The secret of all pistols is trigger. Trigger A, trigger B, trigger C, and trigger D are all different. In each trigger manipulation, and what this means is as that trigger is coming back on that pistol, there are some, like the Taurus line, the G2 and the G3, it has a trigger, long trigger travel, and it doesn't really hit a wall until it's almost full back. Now, you don't really have a lot of manipulation on the trigger when you're engaging that soft trigger because it's not heavy, it's not intense, it's not draggable, right? It just comes back. The only problem is that trigger is somewhat you got to build an education on that trigger. Now, you learn to shoot one of those pistols, then any other pistol you put in your hand, you're going to be able to shoot okay because of the length of travel that trigger has in it. Take a Glock, for instance, which I told you I'm not against them. I'm not, but Glocks have a pretty crappy trigger, to be honest with you, because it's a loadable trigger. It's got a lot of pressure, and the more you bring that trigger back, the stiffer the trigger becomes. And when the trigger becomes stiff, Then you begin to bring it back, and most students manipulate their wrist instead of locking their wrist out. And all of a sudden, we're getting these low shots being done because we are pulling that trigger versus pressing that trigger. Take a Smith and Wesson shield, regular shield, back in the day, it had very little travel. It came to a hard wall. Anything past that wall, the weapon was going to cut. It was going to fire, which is pretty easy. Now, the equalizer and the EZ, those are super, very common, very soft trigger engagements where you don't get a lot of manipulation. Smith and Wesson made an SDVE, which was their low end $300 stainless top, black bottom, great pistol, crappy trigger. Oh my god, it was so stiff. And we always just joke about that. You buy this to start out with, you're going to learn a lot about trigger travel, but at the end of it, it probably is going to extend your time of learning. Keep in mind, every time we touch one of these pistols, we're picking up a habit, and we want to make sure that habit is good and not bad. And pulling and pushing and majority of right-handed students have a lot of trigger manipulation, which causes us to be low and left and low and right. And these are things that happen. Pistols come in a variety of prices. Uh, I would tell you that 550 is a good budget price point in there. Um, when we talk about ammo, I would recommend most of the time, we'll get a big people will be screaming about this, but I highly recommend a 9 millimeter over any other caliber. 9 millimeter is going to give you the versatility, the ability to have high capacity, the ability to have, be able to shoot the gun one handed, and it's got enough power that it can do what it needs to do. Where the 40 and the 45 and all that stuff like that, it's available, but you get a lot more recoil management that we have to deal with, and with recoil management, we have trigger travel up and down, left and right. All right, so number four would be try before you buy. This is no brainer here, guys. Never, ever, ever buy a pistol before unless you have shot it and understand it. Visiting a range that allows rentals. This is where I run into a little problem. Yes, you can go to a range. Yes, you can rent a pistol, but do you know how to properly handle the pistol? Do you know how to engage a trigger versus pulling the trigger? This is my challenge of putting this in here in this position. I should have started at the very, very bottom. I should have started the whole thing out by finding an instructor and let them teach you how to shoot a pistol. Make sure you even want to do it because it's hard to understand how to hold and manipulate and control the weapon. Um, I see people every day come to the range that have shot pistols. I've shot, but they go back there and they're getting a lot of high muzzle flip and all kinds of stuff because they're just not controlling the weapon. And a pistol is just a tool, and a tool needs to be operated. But yes, you can go to YouTube, find the videos, find the best pistol, go to your local range, rent it, and shoot it. My only problem with most rentals at most ranges, it's like rental cars. How well do you treat your rental car versus how well do they treat their rental guns? On top of the fact that uh, you're not gonna, you could have jams, you could have a lot of different stuff because the gun's not taken care of. The gun could be dirty, and that's gonna really deplete you on understanding if you like the pistol. Because those are the little things that holding on to the pistol and pulling the trigger. That's not rocket science. Getting to understand, looking at your targets and understanding what's causing the low and left or the up and right or right and left. So try before you buy. If I was going to recommend it, obviously we offer the try before you buy on all of our classes anyways. If you come to the range, take one of our basic pistol classes and you don't own a pistol, that's awesome. Come in. I'll let you shoot a couple of mine and you have an idea what you're looking for. A lot of people bring a pistol that they bought. And by the end of the day, I'm already showing them different pistol anyways. Now I'm not trying to sell them anything. Obviously, yes, I would love to, but at the end of it, they don't know what a crappy pistol is, except they bought one. And then they put the shield in their hand or the Glock in their hand or one of those others, and they see the difference in the trigger and they go, "Oh my god. Oh my god. What did I do?" Well, you made a mistake. You bought something thinking it was the best deal for you. You found the internet deal. The internet deals are always overstock. That's all they are. You find in a pistol MSRP is such and such, and then all of a sudden they got it for $150 less, and you pull the trigger on it, pardon the pun, because you decided that that's probably going to be good for you and your wife. Well, you get it home, you get it to range. She hates it. It's too big for her hands, and she can't rack the slide. Now you've put $350 into a pistol that you're not going to get back out because all firearms lose their value to begin with when you purchase. On top of the fact now she doesn't like it. So now we have a limited amount of time to get her to understand what she does like. And now you got to convince her to come back and do a class with us, which in turn you should have done to begin with. And then we would have put the right pistol in her hand. All right. So try before you buy is way to go. I would recommend you find a good instructor that they can walk you through it. I would recommend if you go to a local gun store, um, make sure that you tell them that you are new to it, and if they could go back and give you a little bit of pointers, and that would help you understand. And then if you're going to try two or three different pistols, you need to hold them exactly the same to get the concept of which one puts it where it needs to be. And majority of the time in a new student, they're just pulling the trigger. They're not understanding about sight alignment, sight picture, and engagement and everything else like that. All right, so number 5, choose the right caliber. I told you before, a small caliber is like a 22 or 25. 25 really in Florida is not really. Georgia and other places there are. 22 is too small of a caliber for defensive purposes. Don't get me wrong, 22 will still put a hole in you, and it causes a lot of damage when it goes inside of a body. But when we talk about the milk jug full of water, shooting at a milk jug full of water with a 22, you're just poking a hole in it, ladies and gentlemen. When you get a 9 millimeter or a 380, there is no milk jug. The milk jug went to pieces due to the fact that the hydrostatic pressure of that bullet hitting the water. But you have to make sure that, like, say, for instance, 9, 380, 357, 40, um, 45 ACP, the expense of those, some of those are getting real high. Hi Mario, how you doing, buddy? Uh, One of the things you got to make sure you understand that we want to make sure that we have the right caliber for us. So I would say majority of the time, right now, you're looking at 9 millimeters, somewhere anywhere from 25 to 28 cents a round. When you start getting into 380, you could be at 37 to 39. 40 is up there, 45 is up there. 22 is pretty inexpensive, but it's a small 30 grain bullet. And the problem with 22 for defensive purposes, if it's a semi automatic, sooner or later you're going to pull the trigger and that weapon ain't going to go bang because it's a rimfire cartridge and you're going to run into a problem that you got to make sure you can get it. Now, if you got a 22 revolver, you just pull through the next round and then it work fine, and it may come back around and be able to hit it. But 22 rimfire in semi-automatic, you got to one make sure you're putting high velocity through a semi-automatic 22 pistol, and two, uh, we want to make sure that the you understand how to operate it to get it out of there when you need to, because sooner or later, no matter which manufacturer we use in that ammo, it's not going to go bang because the rimfire cartridge misfired, and that's going to cause a lot more problem for us. So, in my opinion, if you're going to look at something, I would look at a 9 millimeter. 9 millimeter, you could work the 9 millimeter in the old cowboy style, where you say 9 millimeter goes into my semi-automatic pistol. Then Smith and Wesson, Ruger, and a bunch of other ones make these 9 millimeter FPCs or carbines that are using the same bullet as well, which is kind of cool. One thing I can tell you is putting a 223 for defensive purposes inside your home. That bullet's traveling about 3,200 feet per second, and it's going to be super loud. And they are flame throwers, especially when you have a short barrel. Where when you're shooting a 9 millimeter inside your home for defensive purposes, it's still going to be somewhere between 1260 and 1400 feet per second, but it is going to be as loud. It's going to be loud, trust me, but it's not going to be as loud as putting off a 223 inside your home. And, you know, in terms, 223 is a perimeter pistol. It's designed for outside, it's not really designed for interior use, where the 9 millimeter pistol or the carbine could be used inside for home defense if you needed to. So that's what I'd recommend. 9 millimeter. Focus on comfort and fit. This is kind of one of those deals where when you got a couple shooting, we want to make sure the gun fits her hand as well as his hand. Again, the man can shittily hold the gun and shoot it okay. Women have to really work at it because a man's going to use his pecs to control the weapon. Women have to use their back muscles to control the weapon, and it's um, a little bit more of a challenge to get them to understand it. Once they've got it, they're better shot than a man is. I'll tell you that. My Miss Johnson out shoots me all the time. Pistols should fit comfortably in your hand with easy access to triggers and controls. Look for a gun that doesn't feel too heavy but provides enough grip and weight for comfort. All right, so here we go. We always talk about, and I get it all the time, where a husband comes in, I want to buy my wife a small pistol. I go, you do? Why? Well, she doesn't want with big recoil. I said, well, a small pistol has less real estate. Less real estate's always going to have more recoil. What? I never heard that. Yeah, well, think about the ping pong ball and the golf ball. Put them on your table and blow on them. Where's the ping pong gotta go? Shoo, off the table. The golf ball will move, but it won't move as much. So we've got to make sure that small doesn't mean what you think it does. One of the other things, um, terminology wise, they have a single stack weapon. They have a hybrid, which is like the 365, the Hellcat, the Smith and Wesson Shield Plus, the Equalizer. These are all serpentining magazines that single out into a single magazine, which gives you a higher capacity. But the problem with the double stack, like the Glock 19, when you go to grab that Glock 19, you may not have the ability to get your fingers all the way in there. Or if you're a big guy, you decide to buy one of those 365s and you put it in your hand and your whole two fingers are coming off the gun. How's that comfortable for you? How is that going to work? in a defensive situation when you're not getting your whole finger on the gun. Again, this is where instead of taking someone's word for it, you need to go feel them and touch them and put them in your hand. Keep in mind, our enemy, when it comes down to our trigger finger, our trigger hand, is this pinky because it tends to want to grab a hold of the pistol right at the end and cause a lot of the trigger manipulation as well. So, focusing on comfort and fit. A pistol should fit your hand comfortably. Make sure you can reach the controls. Now, I can tell you, don't worry about that magazine drop or that magazine release up top there. Both of those can be done with your non-dominant hand, which is what we recommend anyways, instead of slamming it shut with some release form or something. Because maybe that slide lock piece, when you first get it, is very stiff and sticky, so it doesn't really work as well as you think it was. Weight comes in a lot of different forms. We need some weight on the pistol to help with recoil management, but not enough weight on the pistol that it's going to cause us to be uncomfortable. Here's our challenge, or the routine most people get into, is they get the Glock 19 because that's the one everyone's carrying right now. And then you start carrying that Glock 19. Well, after about 2 months of carrying that Glock 19, you realize this is a heavy pistol and it's going to cause me to have problems. And then you're not comfortable wearing it, and your shirt is always manipulating it and doing everything. And by the time you get done, you're not carrying anymore because you've got this pistol that's way too big to carry. But then again, you could have that big hand like I was telling you about, and now the small pistols you're thinking about is not going to work for your hands too. So you got to make sure you find that right pistol that's going to work for you and you only, and then find something that's going to work for her and her only, especially for when it gets down to the carry uh, part of it. Think about concealed carry. If you plan to carry a pistol, consider size, weight, and ease of concealment. A subcompact is generally easier to carry, but they can have more recoil and be harder to shoot accurately. The weapon has no recoil. You have the recoil because you're not controlling it. So once you get yourself in a position to look at most of the stuff, anything with a 3-inch or a 3.1 all the way up to a 4-inch barrel would be in that concealed carry realm. Anything above 7 rounds, uh, because I'm using the Ruger EC9S for that, kind of get you concept there. And then you could get up to 13 or 14 if you're looking at some of the SIG products. You can get up 15 rounds in some of those carry guns. Again, do you need 15 rounds? Obviously, you need to have as many as you can. Let me tell you, when I was early in my career carrying a lot of different stuff, I had a weapon. I put it on my side, and I had two magazines in my pocket, and after a while, it just became more and more of an issue. Now, in the last, Jacob and I went to pocket pistols. I think I think it's been 2.5 years that I put a gun in my pocket every morning, and we joke and kid about. But Jacob, just ever since he's been 21, he's 23. Jake, you 23? Jake's 23. He's been carrying for 3 years. And he's always carrying a pie. And Jake wears basketball shorts, so he doesn't wear belt or anything else like that. But he goes nowhere without his pistol. So that becomes he never went through the cycle of a bigger gun and higher capacity and all that stuff like that. So it's always been summer. So focus on comfort and fit. Think about concealed carry if applicable. All right. Number 8 would be familiarize yourself with the state laws. Research the local laws, includes purchasing requirements, waiting period. Yeah. This would help avoid legal issues, ensuring fully prepared for ownership. That's a lot of information. The concealed carry class gives you a lot of where you can and can't be. I would be careful of other states and watch what they're doing as far as magazine capacities and things like that. There's a lot of states out there that only allow 10 rounds. Most of the gun stores won't even sell a high capacity, but you may be moving to a state. You better make sure you know all the rules and regulations when you move, and 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 as you travel throughout the United States. When you have your Florida concealed, you're going to get 36 states that you can carry concealed in, but you better damn well know every law in every state you travel in. One of the great things about the United States Concealed Carry Association, they have an app, and that app goes on your phone and gives you all the laws and regulations of every state you travel in. But you got to make sure you understand them, because these aren't chokeable things at that point in time. And when you're breaking a handgun law or firearm law, they tend to penalize you a lot more, because keep in mind, in Florida, when you have your concealed carry, you know better. So you want to make sure you understand they're going to hold you to a higher standard than someone that doesn't have their concealed. Uh, it's very important that if people say, well, you don't need your concealed carry in Florida. You don't need it. You don't need it. You do not need it, but it would benefit you to have it, because it does give you reciprocity. Without your Florida concealed, you're just carrying on the permitless carry. You get no other states. You get no other protection. And the sheriff's department looks at you a lot differently, because they think to you should know every law and regulations just like everyone else does, and you've made a decision to carry without getting any kind of benefit of the doubt with a class, so they're going to hold you to a higher standard as well, even higher than someone with their conceal. No lenience, guys, on handgun rules. Florida is one of those places that we are very gun friendly, but we are very strict when it comes to breaking those gun laws. Anything with a firearm in the state of Florida can be considered a felony, first, second, or third degree. Make sure you understand every law and regulation before you even think about carrying a pistol. And unfortunately, a lot of the laws and regulations that are on the internet are old. You got to make sure you understand all the new laws. Don't forget about accessories. Along with the pistol, you need a good quality holster if you're carrying extra magazines, cleaning kits. These add ons are essential for maintaining safe storage and practice use. Yes, I mean, that is true. Now, here in our store, Jacob, my young baby boy, he offers a free cleaning class every Sunday, and you just bring your pistol in. He goes through. He teaches you to fish. He doesn't fish for you, and he hates fishing, so he wouldn't fish for you anyways. He likes catching. He doesn't like fishing. But he'll teach you how to clean it. And, cleaning a pistol is not rocket science, guys. You don't need a ton of money. You don't need a ton of time or anything else like that. Nowadays most pistols, like cars, are meant to be ran dirty. They're not designed to be perfectly spotless. As long as they're oiled and lubed the way they need to be, they'll run for a long, long, long time. You just can't let one sit dirty for a long period of time, because you build up carbon in them, just like a car being driven, 8 miles an hour that's whole life, and then you jump it on the freeway and try to go 40, you're gonna have a problem with that car. It's gonna have to bust out all that carbon. And I know that from a son of a mailman. My fa my father delivered mail for 37 years in Cape Coral and Fort Myers, and he retired. I think he's 35, excuse me, 35 years. He retired, and I remember the summer of my senior year, my father retired. Him and I went all over the place. We went fishing and all kinds of stuff. while he was retiring. And I remember us going somewhere, and I'm looking over the speed thing, and Dad's got this car going 55 miles an hour, and I was like, "Holy cow!" I've just never seen my father drive that fast. And I was holding on the old shit bar. I'm thinking, "Oh my god!" And the black smoke coming out of that damn car. It was just 'cause my dad was a rural letter carrier, so he drove his own vehicle and delivered mail in the Cape. That's how old it was. Uh, Rural letter carrier. So he was driving the car and getting all the carbon built out of it. But yeah, he had lead foot after that. He loved going fast. When I was a kid, one time I get home from I get home from work and my mother throws a shoe at me. I said, "What I do?" She, "You got an accident at the mall in the car and you didn't tell me." I'm thinking, "Accident at the mall? What are you talking about?" And it was my father and my mom worked at J.C. Penney's and dad dropped mom off for work, and we were coming through the JCPenney parking lot, and they had the stop signs on the brick road there, and dad went through the stop sign, and the lady went through the stop sign, and we hit each other. And it wasn't dad's fault, it wasn't the lady's fault, but, the whole scenario was that, she she got a ticket, dad got a warning, and then the lady turned it into her insurance. So my mom thought I got in an accident, so I'm, like, going, "I didn't get in an accident," and I went, "D," like, and my father pulled the paper down and kinda looked at me, with this facial expression of, "You gotta take this one, son," 'cause I guess he didn't tell her. So she's all made, "I'm so disappointed, yeah, yeah," just getting beat up, and then my father goes, "Janie, he's had enough. He understands what he did wrong." That night we went to Sizzler and I got a big steak and everything else like that, but I never told my mom the truth about that until dad passed. She goes, I knew it was him. I knew it was him." That's what she told me. So, don't forget about accessories, guys. These add-ons can be essential for maintenance, storage. Cleaning a pistol really isn't that difficult. It's pretty easy to do. Most of YouTube has a breakdown or takedown model video. We've done a few on the Equalizer. We've done one on the Easy. We've done one on a few of them. They're all available for you. And number 10, which should have been number one, is take a basic pistol course. I mean, these are kind of essential to get you with the foundation that you need to even think about. A lot of people want to buy a pistol, then they come to class. We had a women's class about 6 months ago, and it I took me everything I could do to convince this woman to stay. 'Cause she had wanted to be there, first one signed up, had all the stuff, and the first time she shot the pistol, she was bucking she wanted to get the hell out of there, man. She didn't want nothing to do with it, and I was just, like, going through the ringer with her, trying to get her, convinced her into doing it, and, at the end, she was happy I did, but if I'd let her go, she would've gone. She was packing, she was leaving. So, shooting inside's a lot different than shooting outside. Not only are you getting the recoil of the pistol in your hand, but you're feeling the concussion of the walls as the bullets are impacting, and it kind of gets louder and louder and louder. So, you know, basic pistol class, a good instructor is going to give you what you need to be proficient with a pistol. We're going to cover the grip and the stance and the trigger control and the sight picture and the sight alignment. One of the cool things about our company is that if you come here with no pistol, we're going to let you shoot a couple different pistols that are what we recommend for the person who's in front of us. It's pretty simple and easy to look at a 65-year-old woman and realize that maybe the Glock 19 that her grandson recommended to her is probably not the best pistol for her at this point in time because of her hands and her strength and her grip. Maybe not. Maybe she can run it. Miss Johnson loves the Glock 19. That's her favorite. That's her favorite pistol. She don't. I've tried to get her a Smith. I've tried to get her. She wants that Glock 19, and that's it. That's her. That's her gun. She loves that thing. She's accurate as hell with it, and that's her piece. But there are tons of people out there that are being issued or told what to get without them doing research themselves. So, um, getting into a point where you can take a basic pistol course, you the foundation is what's needed. Remember, they don't build a house roof first. It's always starting with that foundation. They gotta scrape it, clear it, pour it, build up from it, make it flat, make it even. That way you can get comfortable with it. Um, Even before you purchase your first pistol, consider taking a firearms safety course and handling course. This will give you hands on experience, confidence in making the right choice. And this is probably one of the best things I can give you because those are people who want to rent a gun to try it. If you don't have no concept of how to hold on to it, how do you know if you're going to like it or not like it? Hey, bro, Bucks, how you doing, buddy? Thanks. Love you, buddy. Uh, yeah. So when you got yourself in a position where you can get comfortable and find the right pistol, then it becomes so much easier for you. Follow these tips to ensure your first pistol purchase is well informed, comfortable decision, setting you up for success as a reasonable gun owner. In conclusion, purchasing your first pistol is a significant step to becoming a responsible gun owner. Be careful by carefully considering the factors like purpose, comfort, caliber, and local laws. You can inform you can make an informed decision that fits your needs. And remember, owning a firearm comes with great responsibility, and investing in training and safety is just as important as selecting the right pistol. Take time, try it out, different models, and seek guidance from experienced professionals. I know one. I know one. Get in a plane and come see me. We love to help you. With the right knowledge and preparation, the first pistol can be a reliable tool for protection, recreation, sports, and give you confidence and a peace of mind. Guys, that is the live tonight. I really hope that we answered some of your questions. If you're thinking about purchasing a pistol, if you have a friend or a family member who is thinking about purchasing a pistol, let them know about our live. Let them know about our lives that we do every week. Let them know about our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is John the Firearms Instructor. Make sure you click and like and subscribe. And every time we upload a video or have one of these lives every Tuesday night, you'll be the first to know. Uh, Florida is maybe going to have a little piece of the hurricane. So keep us in your prayers. We appreciate that very much. I think we're not going to get as much as other places. I think we're gonna get some wind, some rain, but that's about it for us. Looks like it's gonna go a little past us up to Tampa, maybe up in the Panhandle area. Nobody needs this thing coming at them. It's big, so you never know until the very end. But we appreciate each and every one of you being here this evening. I'd like to go back up and say hello and good night to Michael. Glad you're here, buddy. We appreciate you very much. Uh, Andrew, as always, thank you, sir. Jose, welcome, welcome. Mario, thank you. Chris, yes, the 365 fuse is now 21 rounds. 21 rounds. Yep. Uh, and Rob Brooks, we appreciate you very much, man. Love you very much, like family. Until next time, guys, God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line of defense. Do not forget to get your ass outside. Life's too short to stay inside. Get out, have some fun, go fishing, go hunting, go chasing, do what you got to do. I actually went last weekend, bow season. I haven't really seen any good deer. Had a big old hog walk right into my stand. I was about 150 pounds and I was a mile and a half from the truck. And I thought, I'm not going to do that this evening. If I could convince him to walk to the truck, I would have shot him in the truck, but I wasn't going to actually have to drag him out. That was not any hog you shoot, you want to be able to carry with one hand. That way they're a lot tender, a little easier that way. And he wasn't going to, yeah, but he was right underneath me, about 3 yards underneath me. I could have aired him pretty good. TJ Meyer, thank you very much. This is very informative video. Not a new gun owner, but good information to pass on to people. I know inquiring about. Yep. Well, that is true, my friend. We would love to have them watch some of our videos and be subscribed to us. That's why we do this thing for motivation, entertainment, and we want to get people into this thing. Remember, we are in a odd situation here. We assume that old Trumpster's going to do what he needs to do here to win this thing, but we thought that last year as well. And if we end up in a different situation, I'm not sure what the world's going to become, and we can't afford it. Uh, eggs and milk and everything else it's tough, man. It's tough, but you cannot be without something. You cannot be without a firearm. You cannot be without training. You can't. Yeah, Chris. Chris just put Trump 2024. You can't be without this stuff because unfortunately we're carrying a weapon. We're carrying firearms in our home because a cop's too heavy to carry, guys. It's not his job to defend you. It's your job to defend you. These states in the United States that don't allow these people who are citizens of the United States to have a firearm to protect themselves inside their home is a tragedy. And it doesn't make any sense to me about how each politician is protected by firearms, are protected by all this stuff, but they don't want you to have one. The problem with that is you guys have voted them in. You could easily vote them out. Maybe. I'm not sure if you can now. They're so embedded, so entrenched, so there. And this isn't about an R or a D, guys. This is about them versus us. Because they look at us as we don't know better. Our wallets tell us we know better. Our finances tell us we know better. They're not worried about eggs going to $4 a dozen because they're making all kinds of money up there. Protect yourself, guys. Until next week, I love you very much. God bless. Be safe.